Hello, Health Boss Jessie Zylea here, helping you learn how to become your own health boss and how to lose weight and burn fat without exercise. Do you want to try 5-2 intermittent fasting, but you're looking for a specific road for success? By the end of this video, you will have some specific strategic tips to implement on your 5-2 intermittent fasting journey. For the best scientifically driven ways to lose excess weight when you don't have time or energy to work out, subscribe to my channel. That's what I do. Hit the notification bell so that you are the first to know when I come out with a new video every week. The tough love that I'm about ready to lay down on y'all in this video is exactly what I have had to do with some of my clients. This advice might be hard to hear, but it is effective and it has helped my clients reach their weight loss goals. Some clients need the tough love and they want to know exactly what to avoid in order to be successful on the 5-2 intermittent fasting protocol. So if you're the same way, then it's time to listen up. You see what I just did there? The tough love is starting now. And because we're doing this tough love style, I've got 5 rules for you. Rule number 1, avoid diet drinks. I don't care whether they are diet sodas or diet flavored waters. These things are terrible for you. First of all, there are studies showing that diet sodas can lead to renal failure. Renal failure. That sounds like a generally bad idea. If you're having diet sodas or any kind of diet beverage, generally speaking, I would encourage anyone to stop that regardless of what kind of diet or eating protocol you're trying to engage in. But what a lot of people do on the 5-2 diet is on their fasting days, the 2 days out of the week where they're supposed to be eating reduced number of calories, they will try to stave off their hunger by utilizing diet soda or some sort of diet beverage as a tool to deal with their hunger. And although that might seem like a wise strategy, again, anything that could possibly cause renal failure in the long term, let's just avoid that. Plus, diet sodas don't actually do the job of staving off hunger. You might think that they do that, but what happens is that you end up craving these sugary foods and you can go overboard on your calories real super quick once you start eating for the day. Having said that, there's no problem with drinking sparkling water that happens to have like essence. So for instance, one thing, I love my Pellegrino, my flavored Pellegrinos, but those things, there are no calories there. There are no artificial sweeteners whatsoever. It's just a little, you can sort of, the fizz has an essence of, let's say, pomegranate, and that's really nice. Those are just fine, but avoid the sugary tasting, artificially sweetened diet beverages altogether. Rule number 2, avoid arbitrarily sticking to the same 2 fasting days every single solitary week, because if you do that, you can find that you are running into a brick wall that you have created. For instance, I had a client who chose Mondays and Thursdays as her 2 fasting days each week, but she was a very busy gal, always running to and from different meetings. But because she had chosen these 2 fasting days, that didn't necessarily coordinate with her schedule. So she found herself having a fasting day on the same day where she would have, let's say, a big client meeting or a big partner meeting. And when we had our weekly call, she was really frustrated. She was pissed off and angry that she had this fasting day on the same day where she had, some busy things to do, and there was a dinner there and she wanted to participate, and she ended up sticking with her 500 calories, but she was just angry about it. Don't do anything that's miserable. If you are going to engage in any sort of diet or eating protocol, make it not miserable for you, because already venturing into something new is going to be a bit challenging to get used to at first. There's no need to do anything that you hate, and you can do 5-2 intermittent fasting without hating it. So if my client describes the situation that you're in, where you are busy and things are constantly changing in your work week, just look at your week schedule ahead of time and then choose the 2 days that most make sense for your fasting days. And those 2 days might be 2 days in a row, but if that's going to help you out and make you stick with it better, then do it that way. Rule number 3, avoid pushing your eating window if it's going to make you hangry, hungry, angry, and miserable. The eating window way of intermittent fasting, that's not necessarily the way to do it with 5-2. You can do that with other types of intermittent fasting. And in fact, you should do that with other types of intermittent fasting. But the thing about 5-2 is that on your fasting days, you can have your calories spread throughout the day. You can, if that works for you and your personality. So one client that I had, she was getting so, she got really, really hangry. It's just like, that's who she was. It was fine. But she would find herself trying to push her eating window farther and farther without honestly having sort of practiced doing that before. She just sort of jumped in and did it and got really upset over it. You don't have to do that on 5-2. The thing about limiting your number of calories for the day, the whole like beauty of 5-2 is that you don't have to push an eating. You don't even have to have an eating window at all. Eating the 500 calories a day for 2 days out of the week, or 600 calories if you're a man, then it has the same metabolic effect as though you were fasting completely for that day. So don't feel this need just because other people are talking about eating windows and all that other stuff doesn't mean that you have to. Figure out what works for you. So if you're going to be angry, there's no need to do that. Just have like a little something. It's fine. And you don't have to feel guilty about having a little bit of food here and there. All you have to worry about is just making sure that you don't overdo it on your calories on those fasting days. So what you want to do essentially is take other people's talking about intermittent fasting, because they're probably talking about a different type of intermittent fasting. You want to take their discussions about feeding windows and all that, and you want to put it in the toilet and flush it if you're the type of person to get hangry. Which brings me to a question. If that is you, if you are a hangry individual, if you have gone too long without food, then what are some things that have worked for you in the middle of your workday when that strikes? I would love to hear about your experiences and to see like what are the different strategies that you implement. Rule number 4, avoid processed foods. The reason to avoid processed foods is because although on one hand, it can be really easy because the processed foods have the calories right there on the package, so you can clearly see what the number of calories are. Those things are so calorically dense and they're usually nutrient deficient. It's going to end up leaving you hungrier in the long run. You're just going to be able to have this like small amount of food and that's your whole entire day. Now, if you can work that in your own personality, if you're fine with that, if you're fine being like pretty hungry, except for the, a little bit of time that processed food's going to fill you up, fine, but not very many people are like that. So just avoid processed foods if you can for those 2 days. Get some produce that has a lot of water in it and fiber, and that's going to help fill you up. And if you haven't yet seen my video on jumpstarting your weight loss with the 5-2 intermittent fasting protocol, then you can find that right here in this description box below and also in the iCards. Rule number 5, avoiding fat. Okay, so have some fat. You want to leave a little bit of room for some natural fats in your diet on your fasting days. And that's because it's going to help the food that you are eating. I mean, don't have just the fat by itself because that's not going to do very much of anything. But if you take my advice from the tip before, and if you are eating some high fiber, high water, heavy foods, then to get that to stick with you a little bit longer, you're going to want to add some natural fat. So my 2 most favorite natural fats to add to your food to get everything to stick with you and to feel fuller for longer on the 5-2 diet is avocado. Love it. That's what makes a salad for me. If I just have a salad and there's no fat to go along with it, I mean, forget about it. I just can't even stand it. Then my second favorite thing is going to be a nut butter. But the thing about avocados versus nut butters is you can have a much higher volume in avocado than you can in nut butter. And I definitely stay away from oils. Oils are not going to fill you up at all whatsoever. They just aren't. And they're so calorically dense. It's 120 calories per tablespoon. You just don't want to, because you're dealing with such limited calories on your fasting days on the 5-2 intermittent fasting protocol, you want to make your calories last as long as you can. You don't want to go through them. You don't want this big tablespoon of oil that can go right through you to have absolutely no nutritional value whatsoever. You may as well have an avocado because at least you also have some additional fiber with it as well. If you can't access avocados, see if something local to you has their, packaged guacamole or something like that. You can have a bit of that. That will help. And I have a bonus tip for those who have stuck it out in the video this far. Every once in a while, I'll throw a bonus tip at the end. So I'm doing that here for you. It's simply this: avoid overdoing it on your non-fasting days. Eat normally. Do not go overboard, which is really easy to do when you are not having your fasting days. But try to avoid it. Think about what it is that you're eating on your regular days. Ask if this is something that you normally would have had before starting 5-2. However, part B to this bonus tip is also don't unnecessarily deprive yourself on your non-fasting days either. I had one of my clients, she did that. She was telling me that she was miserable, that she, I asked her what she was doing, and she said that she thought that maybe if she had, 4 days in a row that she would be having her fasting days, that it would help really accelerate her weight loss. Well, here's the thing. Even if it does accelerate your weight loss, it's not a necessary thing. You can still lose weight just with 5 and then the 2 days of your fasting days. But people, when they want to accelerate their weight loss, what they end up doing is completely sabotaging themselves because they make themselves miserable. They put up their own walls. They create their own random rules that have not been tested, frankly. And then they suck at it. They suck at their own rules because they are not liking the rules that they have created for themselves. It's not part of the protocol. The 5-2 fasting diet has been clinically proven to lead to weight loss if you can follow some of these really simple steps. Just because the solution is simple, though, does not necessarily mean that it's easy, but I do recommend you try this out. See if it works with your personality, and if it does, it can be a great weight loss tool for you. So these 5 rules, along with my bonus tip at the end, these alone can give you a big boost when it comes to attaining your weight loss goals, losing the amount of excess weight that you're wanting to lose, especially if you are new to a 5-2 intermittent fasting protocol. So now that you know some successful strategies to use with 5-2 intermittent fasting as a tool for weight loss, what about when you are hungry on your fasting days? I've created a free 1-pager, a simple guide with quick on-the-go tips for combating hunger while you're intermittent fasting on the 5-2 protocol. You can save it on your phone. You can just pull it up really quickly if you need some quick advice, a quick reminder, some immediate support on the 5-2 diet. If you're hungry, pull it up. Anyway, how do you get this guide? It's really easy. Just hit me up. Email me. I have my email in the description box below. I don't have any automated anything. So this is my email address. Just email me. Tell me that you want the guide and I'll send it to you. It's a PDF, so you can just save it on your phone, pull it up real quick. Simple. Also, if you haven't seen it yet, check out this video if you are a desk job professional who does not have time for working out, and if you want some other tips on the 5-2 diet just for you. Remember, there is no one way to lose weight. If you hear some guru saying that, then run in the other direction. The key is finding a scientifically based solution that also works with your personality. And that's where I come in, helping you find something that fits. If you liked this video, then giving it a thumbs up, subscribing and sharing, it really helps me out, it helps out the channel, and it helps other people find the same information. So if you do like the video, then please do give it that thumbs up and subscribe. Plus, I would love to have you as a subscriber. Thank you so much for being a part of this community, and until next time,